Good afternoon and welcome to Soultiful. My name's Nikia,
Hey, I'm Toya.
And I'm Latoya.
and our guest this week is Miss Regina Renaye. First of all, we're going to find out what we're all working on. Toya,
I have been working on adding PayPal links to our website for the VA World Conference.
yes,
Yes.
And I got started on next month's content.
cool. I worked on eating my face full today, so I didn't work on anything. Sorry. Regina, what did you work on today?
Oh, I did some event planning for this event that I have coming up later this month called Strong Black
Cool,
Women
cool.
Redefined. So I did some
Yes,
planning for that.
that's great. We can't wait to hear more about that. Our guest
Fantastic.
today is Miss Regina Renaye. She is the founder of Mindful and Melanated, an online community for Black women who need a safe space to tackle their unique issues around mental health and wellness. Regina has been battling depression and anxiety since childhood. Her first suicide attempt was at the age of 12. As an adult, Regina muddled through life wearing a mask to hide what was really going on inside her. For a long time, she felt embarrassed and ashamed of her mental health diagnosis. On one hand, Regina often overcompensated for her depression by being an overachiever. And on the other hand, she tried to numb her pain by self medicating. After getting out of a year-long depressive episode, Regina decided to share her story with the help of helping other Black women along in their mental wellness journeys. Because she is intimately knowledgeable about how mental illness affects Black women, and knows there is a need for Black women to congregate in a space specifically for them, she founded Mindful and Melanated. Mindful and Melanated offers peer support and access to culturally competent mental wellness resources, providers, and programs. Welcome, Regina.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
We are so glad you're here. We always love an additional mental health advocate as well as mentor. So we appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So tell us about what do we want to know, y'all?
What y'all want to know about me?
What?
A little bit about the backstory. Just tell us a little bit. I know you did read the bio, but a little bit about yourself. You
Yeah,
know.
sure. So, as Nikia read in the bio, I have been suffering from depression and anxiety since childhood. I tried to kill myself at the age of 12. And I don't know why I wanted to die. I just didn't want to be. And I took a whole bottle of Tylenol
Mm,
and I went in my room. I shared a room with my sister. I went in my room. I went in the bunk bed, the bottom bunk, lay down, and I tried to go to sleep. Fell asleep, woke up,
mm,
and I was sad that I woke up.
really?
I was sad that I woke up, and I was crying. And my mom came in the room. She's like, "What is wrong with you?" I said, "I want to die. Like I." She's like, "What do you mean you want to die?" I said, "I tried to kill myself, and it didn't work, and I'm upset." So I didn't get help
Mm,
for that. I got punished.
really?
I
Oh,
got punished. Yeah. I'm calling your father. That's what my mom said. I'm calling your father. So I got a lecture from my mother, from my father. And, that's just indicative of how mental illness is treated in the Black community. I'm not knocking my parents, but they did the best that they could with what they had.
Mm,
It's just not talked about. And
mm,
it's not a thing in
right.
our community. And for a long time, because of that incident, I was, hiding my depression and hiding my anxiety. At 12, I didn't know what depression and anxiety was. I just know I didn't want to live and I didn't know why.
Right.
I had friends, I did well in school, I was in clubs, my mom didn't abuse us and we were well fed, we lived in a nice neighborhood. I didn't know why I wanted to die, I just wanted to die.
Mm,
And anyway, so um, to try to mask what I was feeling inside, I overcompensated by doing all these things. I was on the debate team. I made straight A's. I was on the math team. I did everything I could possibly do outside of myself so nobody could see what was going on up in here.
mm,
Hmm.
I did it for a long time, high school and adulthood, doing well in it on the job, getting exceeds expectations on all of my performance reviews, everything like that.
So sis,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. So you're saying that, I guess a lot of times we're looking for like, why are they like that? Like, what is the problem? How did they get like that? Are you saying there wasn't any real triggers in your life?
There at the time I didn't know,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, that age.
So when you
Am I the only one frozen?
Uh-uh.
No.
Okay.
I think she froze. We'll give her
Well,
a
yeah.
minute.
Well, she might have to come back in. So what were you saying, Nakia?
I was saying, I know that for me, I
Mm-hmm.
remember being depressed. I
Mm-hmm.
remember, um, but I did not know at the time it was depressed. I knew at the time that I didn't want to be around other people. I'd rather just stay in my room and sleep. Um, but as an adult looking back, I know what it was because now I know the symptoms and the signs and the things that, so when it came time for my children, because both of my children have attempted suicide, um, when it came time for them, I knew the signs and I knew to get them help and I knew to um, be more supportive of, well, why do you feel this way or what can I do? Is there anything going on? That type of thing. So um, it's hindsight is 2020 for an adult.
Right.
Welcome back.
Right.
Yes, welcome
yeah,
back.
sorry.
Okay.
You know what? That's the internet don't want me to be great.
That enemy, they don't want this message to get out
They don't
here.
want this
That's
message to
right.
go.
That's right. That's the deal.
But as I was trying to say was like as an adult going back and looking at it, there were some things that, I mean,
Okay.
I was bullied by my sister.
Mm.
Mm.
Just keep it real. She was the thin one, I was the fat one, right? So
Yeah.
I got bullied because of that. I always felt very insecure about my body because I was a size C in like the sixth grade,
Mm.
so I was always subconscious about that. My dad wasn't in the home. I mean, my parents were divorced, and my dad was there for us. We saw him every summer. We came up to Boston and saw him every summer. He wasn't absent, but he wasn't in the home, right? And so we grew up at the time that neighborhood was an all white neighborhood. I don't know if you know Toya, Miramar. Back in the
Yeah.
day, Miramar was number white people.
That's right. That's
Okay, and
right.
they all had two-parent homes, and we were the
Yeah.
only black people on our street, and we was the only one that didn't have two parents in the home. So that was like, where's my daddy? How come he's not here? How come daddy daughter night? I couldn't go.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know, so so a lot of those things, triggered how I was feeling as a kid.
Mhm.
Plus, there's always there's the chemical imbalance as well. I'm diagnosed with major depressive disorder. It's in the DSM-5. If you guys don't know what the DSM-5 is, that is the diagnostic tool that clinicians use
Mm-hmm.
um, as a guide to diagnose people with different mental health issues. So yeah, so I have major depressive disorder, and it's a chemical imbalance. I do take medication for it, in addition to talk therapy and peer support groups and self-care and all that stuff. So I think I answered your question, Toya.
Can
You
you
did.
repeat what that system is? D what?
The DSM-5.
Oh, DSM-5. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the book that like therapists and
Yeah.
psychologists and psychiatrists use.
It's a little book. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Yeah,
little book.
just a little, just a little tiny book.
Yeah, it's a small, thick book.
It's
Oh,
very
thick
thick.
book.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So,
Regina, I wanted to. We're talking about the myth of the strong black woman. How do we, as friends, supporters, parents, siblings, co-workers of people who have a mental illness, support you?
how can they
How
support
can you
me
prepare us to
specifically, or
support
just
you
I mean just in
in,
general?
in general?
In general, okay. So for one, let's talk about what this strong black woman is, right? So historically, black women by society, by white society, I'm going to be frank, by white society and our own community, we're looked upon as very resilient.
Mhm.
We can handle anything, right? I mean, Harriet Tubman freed the slaves, right?
Mm.
You know, why can't you handle a little, you know, distress, right?
Perspective.
So, and historically, and this is going back to slavery, we weren't looked upon as feminine, vulnerable, you know.
Mm.
We were looked at just like the men were looked at, chattel, right? So historically, we're black women are looked upon as uh, uh, not susceptible to mental distress. We're uniquely resilient, and you know, thank you, but that's not the truth.
Right. Like we can handle it all. We got it.
We got it.
She got it.
And you know, this whole oh, I'm a strong black woman, I'm a strong independent black woman, like for a very long time that was like a thing, like, oh, that's me, like I'm proud to be that.
I don't need no pop.
Okay,
I'm good.
Yeah, that was a very popular
good.
mantra for sure.
But what happens when you're not good? What happens?
Sometimes we're not.
Because sometimes you're not, and it's okay to not be okay sometimes. So to answer Nakia's question, check on your strong friend, because I would say 8 times out of 10, your strong friend has something going on.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want to burden you with it. That's number
Yeah.
one. They want to keep up appearances. That's number two.
Yeah.
They don't know how you're going to receive it. That's number three. So check on your strong friend. Be like, hey, sis, are you, you know, I don't know, are you good? Yeah, girl, I'm good. No, for real. Are you good?
No, for real, for real.
Right. Right.
You know, for me, I'm an introvert. So in addition to having depression, I'm an introvert. So my energy gets drained when I'm around other people. So for me, I need space sometimes, you know, like, let me give you an example. I'm the flaky friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the flaky friend. So
Oh,
everybody
God.
wants to go out every weekend. I'm like, oh yeah, girl, I'm coming. And then the last minute I decide not to go. Why? Because I need my space and my time. Like I can't physically be around people. And it's like, that's part of me being an introvert, but that's also part of my depression. Like I need to be alone sometimes. And yeah, my friends joke around and say, "Oh, Regina's the flaky one," but you know, it's all jokes. But they know that I need that time. So just be mindful of that. Like some people, like you know, you may joke around with them and say, "Hey, you never come out with us." There could be a reason. Mm-hmm. That's you. That's you. It could be a legitimate reason.
Is there a way for us to dispel the myth of the strong black woman?
I think having conversations like this is a great start. I think more people being open about what they're going through is an amazing start. I think having the conversation about seeking professional mental health treatment
Mm-hmm.
is great because again, that's not a thing. We don't go to therapy. We go to church. Or you just gotta pray. I had somebody tell me, "Girl, you ain't depressed. You just got a demon."
Ooh.
Okay, I have clinical major depressive disorder. Like it's not, I can't pray this away. Yes, you need spirituality. That is definitely part of your part of a sound treatment plan, but you can't just pray it away. So um so what was your repeat the question? I just want to make sure I'm answering your
How
question.
can we dispel
Oh
or
yeah.
disrupt the myth?
Yeah, so just being open about when you're not doing well,
Mm-hmm.
And then
and not chastising somebody for being open and saying, and not making them feel like they're a weak person because they're crying.
Yeah, and I
Because
feel like also too, you don't want to make it a joke. Like, hey, I'm just having a crazy day. No, because that's not a crazy day. People literally have crazy days, and that's not how you categorize it. So
right,
not allowing people to what is the word? Negate what you're feeling. If you're having a mental health day, say you're having a mental health day, let someone know that something's going on so that they can support you the best way they know how.
and I totally agree with that. Like, don't invalidate yourself, because then you're leaving the door open for other people to invalidate
Right.
you and what you're going through. And like, and to piggyback off what Nakia was just saying, like, don't joke about stuff. Like, my biggest pet peeve is when someone says, "Oh, the weather is bipolar today. It was sunny, now all of a sudden it's raining." Like, bipolar is a legitimate disease. Like, to attach that word to the weather, like you're minimizing somebody who actually has bipolar disorder.
Yes.
You know, so if you see someone doing that, put them on notice. Just like if you saw, somebody call somebody a nigger on the bus, you would put them on notice, like, hey, that's not cool. Put somebody on notice for saying, oh, she must be bipolar, or she must be schizophrenic. Put that person on notice. Be like, let's use these terms appropriately. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Well,
I also think something that's important is learning like what your personal limit is and being able to say no. Like
Mm.
that's enough. I'm good. And being okay with telling them no because that's just how you feel. Like you said, they put a lot on us. They're like, oh, they can handle it. She's good. She's a tough cookie. You know how they say. And you up to here with it, but you don't want to be that person to say, you don't want to let them down. You don't want to disappoint people. You want to be there because we as women we are nurturers, so we want to do that. We want to be that caring, but you also get a limit.
Yeah.
So
so
And you're absolutely right, Latoya, because we 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 all got to talk. I know y'all got to talk. You got to be 10 times better than white folk in order to be
okay.
equal than white folk, to be equal to
Absolutely.
white folk, right? So like
Mhm.
on the job, you're doing everything right. You're an overachiever. You exceed expectations. So they're gonna say, hey, Latoya got it. She's good. She'll figure it out.
Yeah.
She always does.
Hmm.
Toya, I wanted you to share, speaking of work and, when they try to put more on you than they should, how
Oh
did
no,
you
no.
deal with that?
I mean, but then again, that's my, like I said, that's my personality. Like I had a supervisor that would ask me to do something. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, and I start on that, and then come back. I hadn't finished what I just got, and you're already giving me something else. It'll sit right there because me, I got to compartmentalize. I got the one thing at a time because my thing is I want it done right. I don't want to half do something that got my name on it. So that other thing that you gonna find somebody else to do it, or you gonna wait until I'm done this task. But then he'll come back and be like, "Oh, did you?" Mm-mm. And he'll be
Mm-mm.
looking like,
Uh-uh.
he'll be like, "Oh, okay, well, uh, I'll just give you some more time, okay." But if I didn't get to it, I didn't get to it. Sometimes I'm able to get to it, but then that's just me because I'm like, I'm not running around my head cut off no more. I used to do that. I used to do that, and
Mhm.
then I'll be exhausted, burnt out, just done. And
Yeah.
they trot along, and Betty Sue over there picking her nails, ain't doing nothing, and I'm over here tired at the end of the day. So I was like, oh, no, 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 mm-mm, not
Absolutely. You
happening
have
that
to
way.
establish boundaries. And like,
Yes.
you've heard the saying, no is a complete sentence.
mhm.
Yes.
That's absolutely true. And kudos to you, Toya, for recognizing that, I have to step back and establish some boundaries in the workplace. Yes, I'm
Hmm.
grateful to have a job, but they're grateful to have me too.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yes. You will not work me to the bone. I
Yeah.
felt like I felt like my last job just wanted to suck any and everything they could get out of me for the money that they were paying. And let's not say they were paying big money, right?
Right.
So I'm like, dang, they just pile on more and pile on more and pile on more. And the previous one you were barely getting that done. And then they just, oh, we're gonna shift this to this group of people. He like, dang, I'm doing three people's job already. And so that nope. That's when I just decided like, well, it'll get done when it get done because I don't want to stress myself out.
Mhm.
But in the end of the day, I ended up leaving anyway because I just couldn't take it no more.
Right. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about during the event, the virtual panel discussion, Strong Black Women Redefined, is how do you establish healthy boundaries in the workplace with your friends, with your intimate partners, with your family, because setting up boundaries is essential for your mental wellness.
Yes.
Hmm.
So, Regina, what gave you the courage to finally speak out?
What that's a really good question. What gave me the courage to speak out? I said to myself, enough is enough.
Mm.
You have a legitimate disease.
Hmm.
you wouldn't persecute someone for having diabetes,
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, having kidney disease,
Mm-hmm.
asthma. You know, this is a legitimate thing
Mhm.
that you have to take medication for, that you have to see doctors for, a therapist for. So you need to treat it as if you would treat high blood pressure, right? And so after I had that conversation with myself, I said, I know there are a lot of people, specifically Black women, who are going through the same thing that I'm going through. And I tried to find some peer support groups. So for your audience members who don't know what peer support groups are, it's not group therapy.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually a coming together of people who are in the same um, a situation, whether it's, you know, people who have depression or some sort of mental illness, people who suffer from addiction. It's just a group of people, like-minded people who are in a very similar situation. They come together and they share their experiences with each other, and it's usually led by someone who has the same ailment that they have, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's not led by a therapist, it's led by what they call a certified peer support specialist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to find, you know, some peer support, and there are lots of peer support groups. Girl, there are a lot. But try to find one for a Black chick. Good luck.
Wow.
Good luck. I could not find any peer support groups for Black women in my area. No, I live in Boston. I know people are like, oh, ain't no Black people in Boston. I mean, there's some Black people in Boston, but not enough to start a peer support group.
Wow.
So that's why I started Mindful and Melanated. And when I started that, that's what made me kind of speak out about it. Like, I know y'all are suffering. You don't have to suffer by yourself, because I suffered by myself for a very long time. And it does not have to be that way.
Mm.
It absolutely does not have to be that way. Um, so so I started speaking out. You know, it was really kind of selfish, because I was like, I know there are other sisters out there who deal with the same thing I'm dealing with. Like, we gotta come together. We gotta talk to each other. We have to help each other. Like, so it was really out of selfishness. I'm like, I need a tribe. Like, I can't do this by myself. All these crazy white folks in Boston. Like, I need to be with my sisters. So
Why do you think that a therapist of color is more relatable or better for a woman of color?
so for me, I didn't want to spend 25 minutes of my 60-minute session explaining my Blackness. So
Mm.
I don't want to say like for every, like, you have to have a Black therapist, because there are some people who are very happy with their non-Black therapists. Okay. But for me, I couldn't find one that I didn't have to explain different cultural references to. You know, I felt like I had, so, you know, we have to code switch at work. So
Mm.
like the way I talk to my friends, it's not the same way I talk at work, right? I felt like I had to do that voice and that vernacular. You know, I had to code switch in my therapy sessions. That's a lot of work.
Because that's Regina. That's a whole other person.
It's right. You know, like Regina Kenny is different from Regina
Yes,
Renaye.
that's
You know what
right.
I mean?
Okay,
And I
yeah.
couldn't be Regina Renaye. In my sessions, I had to be Regina Kenny. And that
Mm.
was just too much work. It was too exhausting. And I just feel like, plus they understand our plight, like our plight. They understand what we've gone through historically. We share very similar experiences, like, you know, the debate between the debate between what's dressing versus stuffing.
Something?
Like,
Stuffing.
you know what I'm saying? Like little stuff like that. Like, you can joke with your therapist about stuff like a white therapist ain't gonna know that. Like, they're not gonna,
Yeah.
you know, like, they don't understand the arguments that the aunties have about the potato salad. They don't understand that stuff.
It is very important to know who made the potato
It's
salad.
very important to know.
Boy.
They don't understand that when someone invites you to a party, you say, who all gonna be there? They don't understand that stuff. You know what I mean? So that's why for me it was very important to have a Black therapist, because I don't have to explain my Blackness to her. You know.
That's interesting because I don't have a Black therapist, but I haven't run into the having the code switch either. So that's why I was wondering.
You know, I had to. It was very difficult. Because
So,
I actually had a clinician tell me,
mm-hmm.
this is a true story, that my irritability is not a symptom of depression. It's a personality flaw of mine.
Wow.
And that my demeanor is I come off as very angry. I was just being regular. So it's like, now you're gonna put the angry black woman trope on me? Bye.
Yeah.
Like,
You know?
no, you just made me angry, but
I said, now I'm angry.
now I'm angry. Now I'm angry. You about to get it. Hold on.
Right.
That's interesting, because for anyone who has spent some time with you over a day or so, that's not your demeanor
Like,
at all.
who are you talking about?
Exactly.
Hey sis, do you think if you just growing up in just predominantly white area, that's why we have to do the code switching and the explain it.
I don't do it. I mean, when I'm at work, I act the same way y'all see me, and y'all see me at work. So I act the same way. I talk the same way. So I've never had to, I guess, acclimate myself to that, because they just automatically expect me to be me because my name is Nakia. So they automatically expect ghetto. So it is what it is.
That's but see, you're an anomaly.
You are not.
You're the exception, not the rule.
Oh,
Yeah. We always got to put you in a different category because you never went through some of the things we went through. So we got to put you over here.
Because like they literally won't understand you if you don't talk a certain way. They won't understand what you're talking about. Period.
They'd be late then.
Yeah. So definitely, it's exhausting trying to code switch.
Yeah.
You have to do it at work. Well, you don't have to. I chose to.
I did call center. You definitely have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to.
And it's like, I don't want to do that during my therapy session. Like this is the time. This is the place I should be me. Like,
yeah, when you just take all down.
Yeah. So. And that's why I wanted a peer support group specifically for Black women, because that way we can just kind of talk about, what we're going through without walking on eggshells or trying to be extra careful with our words. And ain't nobody got time for that.
Latoya Bass says it's so good to talk to someone who understands your background. Yeah. Totally agree with you, Toy. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you, sis.
Hey, Toy Bass.
Toy Bass.
My homie.
And she too has had to change, how she normally would be in certain scenarios in the workplace. Mm-hmm. That's just what it is, bro.
Right, and it's like, because let's not even talk about the microaggressions we have to go through at work. People want to touch your damn hair and all kind of foolish.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No ham. No.
Okay.
I must just look mean, because ain't nobody trying to touch me.
So you people, you've never had anyone to ask to touch your hair?
I wish they.
Y'all never had that?
Have you ever been in a predominantly white situation, Nakia?
Yeah, my office is predominantly white.
Man,
so
interesting.
Y'all know me with the hair, so I'll have a different hairpiece on, and I've had some jobs where they're like, "Oh my gosh, well, this is different from the other day."
Yeah.
Oh.
They literally don't get it. I'm like, it's a wig.
Yeah.
You've never seen a wig before, but
and my thing is like, white people get wigs too. Like, what is that?
I was just gonna say, even still, why is that even a topic of discussion? Like, I have nothing to do.
Wow.
Like, who cares? So yes, and matter of fact, it could be blue tomorrow for all I know when I feel like it. You know what I mean? Does that matter? Yes, it does matter, because that's not natural hair color. Therefore, you cannot wear it here at work.
So Latoya Bass says you are the spokesperson for all Black people in corporate America.
Oh my gosh, don't you?
She is so right. She's so right. Yeah.
Me out of the club because I can't be the spokesperson.
Gotta go over there.
I've had that too. I've had it. They'll ask me certain things like, "What does such and such mean?" and I'll be like, I don't know.
You don't have the energy to even deal with it. I'm not just trying to do my job. It's
I don't speak for all Black people. I don't know.
Wow.
It's very exhausting and very draining.
Yeah. It is. And so
And
that's why it's important to have what you bring for us Black women. So we're so very grateful. Can you tell us a little bit more about the event that you have
yes,
planned?
so it's
Yes.
this month, later this month, it's Saturday, August 29th,
Hmm.
from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it's virtual. It's via Zoom. You can register for the event on Eventbrite. It's absolutely free to attend. So we have four fabulous panelists. Three are women who openly discuss their bouts with mental illness, specifically depression and anxiety and bipolar disorder. And then our fourth panelist is a clinician. And so she's going to bring some, some of her expertise to the table. And they're just
Nice.
going to basically talk about their issues with mental health, and we're going to come together and we're going to redefine what it means to be a strong Black woman. That's why we're calling it the Strong Black Woman Redefined. um
Nice.
yeah, it's going to be a great conversation. Yeah.
I'm excited. And just listen to you guys talking, about some mental illness stuff. I'm just looking like y'all don't understand how strong y'all are to me. I like y'all are strong, strong black women. Like I love that you're so uh you know what's going on. You're well informed, and I really love, Regina, that you never give up. Like no matter what happens, you keep going, and I'm inspired by that. I really am. I love that Nakia knows so much about what's going on with her, and she's been able to support like really her children. I learned from that for dealing with my children. So I thank you guys for being strong
No,
and
thank
and
you.
open and honest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that,
Yes, I
and
felt like it was important because in my family it was not talked about. But
mm,
once my children were diagnosed, I had to speak out. I had to be more verbal because I had to let them grow up knowing there was nothing wrong with them.
Hmm.
Mm, I
right,
love that.
exactly. Yeah, you didn't want them to feel othered.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, so we don't only have peer support groups at Mindful and Melanated. We also do virtual events like this, and sometimes we do webinars. Like I don't know if you guys did the self-care webinar that I had
Hmm.
a few months ago. Yeah. So yeah, and we also have a directory of Black female therapists on the
Hmm.
website. So if you're looking for a therapist,
Awesome.
you specifically want a Black woman, you can go on the website,
Hmm.
mindfulandmelanated.com, and look up we don't have many on there yet, but we are growing. And I'm actually working on a partnership with another woman. She is a clinical psychologist, and she has a directory of her own of multicultural therapists. It's not just Black women; it's different ethnic backgrounds in both male and female. So we're gonna try to work together to see if we can kind of like join forces. Um, you know, because what if someone just wants a Black male? It doesn't have to be a Black female. Whatever. Or if you want a Hispanic woman, or so yeah.
Hmm.
So
That's
who
good.
should sign up for the event, Regina? Who's it directed to?
I think any Black woman who is fed up with that myth, that concept of the strong Black woman, needs to sign up for this event. I think every woman who is or has suffered some sort of mental distress should sign up for this event. Um, Anyone who feels like they're in this fight alone,
Mm.
anyone who is being affected, anyone whose mental health has been affected by this pandemic, by
Hmm.
this social unrest that we are seeing, people dying, our Black men dying,
Mm.
Breonna Taylor. If you
Mm.
are, and you know what? Let me
Yeah.
back up and say this. Like, I grieve for these people.
Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
never met them. I
Hmm.
don't know them,
Hmm.
but I grieve for them. And if you're grieving for them, let me tell you that is very normal.
Hmm.
That is very normal. And if you
Yeah.
feel like you're grieving for that, sign up for the event.
Hmm.
Talk about it with us.
Hmm.
It will be virtual,
Um,
so you can't speak, but you can put a Q. There's a chat for Q&A. Definitely speak up. Talk about what's happening right now. You
Yeah.
know.
so we have Dr. Tarman on the line here as well. She is a black psychologist in Florida. And she says, please put the links to everything in the comments. She wants to be able to go to your website and so forth.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely put those links in there for you.
This was a
Does
good.
anybody have any more questions?
No, man. I encourage everybody to please sign up for the event.
Right.
The more
The
the
event
merrier.
is
It's going to be
Saturday,
beautiful.
I'm sorry. The event is Saturday, August the 29th from 11 to 1 via Zoom. And you can sign up via bit.ly at bit.ly/SBWR2020. And the words are capitalized. It's link sensitive. So I'm going to put all of that in the show notes. The website is mindfulandmelanated.com. And this is Miss Regina Renaye.
Well, I want to say, I just wanted to say, just like, I hope that we all are fed up if not for yourself, for other Black women who deal with this and deal with it alone. Because again, in our community, I mean, I even said to my kids, like, girl, no, that's not quit tripping, quit playing. And that's not right. But it's because of the community that I'm from. It's because of my miseducation. So be fed up for somebody else and sign up, and so we can all learn. It's going to be a great educational situation. And Regina, what last words do you have?
I just want to reiterate, check on your strong friends. If you are that strong friend, reach out. If you're not comfortable reaching out to your circle of friends, you don't have to join Mindful and Melanated's peer support group. Find a group in your area. Just find some sort of support system for yourself, because you do not have to do. I did this alone for so many. I was so embarrassed. I did it for so many years. You don't have to do this by yourself. You can get support, and I encourage people to get support.
Definitely.
This
And
is out there,
there's
y'all.
lots of support out there. There's many organizations. You just have to look.
Yeah, you just have to look, and you have to find one that's right for you.
Right, and it has to be right for you.
It has to be
and it's
right
not going to be the first time. It's not going to be the first time.
Exactly.
But persevere and know that you do have someone out there for you that's going to understand you and that's going to help you feel better.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you're saying, that reminds me of, even with therapists, even if it's a Black therapist, that y'all still may not mesh. Like, you shop around, don't go with the first one. Find that fit, because there is a fit for you.
Absolutely. And that's a good point. Just like you can hire them, you can fire them.
That's right.
I have a
They
therapist.
work for you. They work for you.
They work for you. And they don't get offended. They know they don't get offended. That's their job. I actually have a therapist hiring guide that I can probably give you guys the link for that if you guys want to share with your audience. It is just a guide, just some questions to ask your potential therapist. You can add or remove questions as you see fit. But yeah, just like Toya said, the first therapist may not be the right one for you. You might have to shop around. So
Yep.
Love it.
Okay. Today's episode was brought to you by the VA World Conference at vaworldconference.com. We are having a inaugural conference in June, so check that out. What else was there, Toya?
Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Meet us back here next Tuesday, 4 p.m., right here on Soultiful.
See you later.
We love y'all.
thank you for